All right. So we want to get into some Q&A stuff?
Yeah. Well, actually, I'm surprised at the questions a little bit. I mean, happily surprised at the question a little bit because there was a lot of stuff about nervous system emotions. I thought it'd be a lot more like, so how do I do bicep curls again?
Yeah.
So there's some good ones. I like it. I was surprised. Like a lot of people are following the stuff on the nervous system more than I hoped for. Let's put it this way. I thought, it's always a problem. Like into how much do I go into? Like I know that we have that conversation often. Is how much do I give versus? Okay, so that's even a conversation we had with Greg yesterday, right? I have a tendency to push toward the edges all the time, and I give people stuff they might not be practically ready for, in the sense of I'm going to give them ideas, but they don't have the tools to go into it. So should I not give people ideas? Should I wait for them to be ready? But at the same time, if I don't push them, then they have nowhere to shoot for. And then even if you're not ready, sometimes you should still go for it, because otherwise how are you going to go forward?
Do you think there has to still be some kind of a line there, right? Where like, we don't want to teach third graders calculus without the context, educational context for them to use it.
For sure. The problem is that I do. Like this is also an issue of mine. Is sometimes I'm like, yeah, but that's what I do. So therefore, I'm gonna. Okay, so it's almost like an ethics thing for me. Is I feel very bad about not telling people where I'm at in my study of all that shit. Basically, I feel if I hold back on this, I feel disconnected from people. Like I'm like, look, this is what I've been working on. I think it's amazing. Let me tell you about it. I don't expect them to necessarily go to the gym right now and experiment, but at least I feel it feels incorrect. It feels wrong for me not to share the stuff I'm working on.
Plus, you're proud of it, right? Like you work pretty fucking hard on it for that reason. Like, I totally understand.
But no, the thing for me is I think it can make a difference. Whenever I come up with something and I think it makes a difference, my thing has always been like, even if there's one person that tries it or gets it and gets results out of it that can make them better or change something, then it's worth for me to put it out there. Knowing full well that for most people, they're gonna be like, what the fuck was that? Right? Or I can't, or maybe they'll mess it up, or maybe they can't use it or whatever, but at the same time, so yeah, I think the key is I just have to make sure that we are more precise on certain things, which is what Greg is working on with Rachel right now so much, is to be more precise on the early stuff so people can catch up on that.
Yeah, so we can pin that stuff down, and then there'll be...
I go crazy at the edges, basically.
It was the same thing when I started doing our stuff, is that I had to, because I owned a gym, and I was coaching, and I was still learning how to do both of those things. I ended up, it was the same thing, like we'd be rolling out, there'd be new thing after new thing, and I always had to like, all right, this is the set of information right now that I can process and use, and I had to like really prioritize my resources mentally. Like I can work on this and put this in, and I had to basically, all right, I got to table this other stuff for a while until I have the headspace to get to it. But that is
your job, because like if you ask me to do that, how am I supposed to know where you are?
Oh, certainly.
So I'm not putting, by the way, this is not like, oh, it's your responsibility, fuck off. Like I'm not wanting to put all the stuff on people's hands. It's just I come from a place where I'm like, I don't know where you are. It would be, I think, extremely arrogant of me to say, start here. Like at least we need to have a conversation about it.
Yeah.
Like I don't like to tell, I don't ever want to tell people what to do because I don't know where they are. So how am I supposed to tell you where you start? How the fuck should I know?
So do you think maybe it's more a matter of like, all right, so some of the more advanced stuff that you're getting into with the nervous system, maybe it's a matter of like for the person receiving the information, like if you don't get it,
that's okay.
Just back up.
Yeah, but
like
that's
go a little further back.
That's okay. I'm not trying to prove anything. I'm not going, hey, look how smart I am. This isn't that. I'm just sharing what I'm working on, because I think some of the stuff is mind-boggling. So usually when I find like that, I'm like, hey guys, listen to this one, because I find it mind-boggling. And then I feel it can make a big difference on certain things. I see people suffering on certain things, and I'm like, I believe I have a solution. How could I not say it? Yeah. At least offer the solution. But I'm not expecting people to go like, oh yeah, right. But at the same time, I cannot not do it. On the other side, if I say, okay, so this is what you're going to do. You're going to do this, 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 and this, and this. It doesn't work like that, because you can't learn to swim on a table. I can't tell you this is a movement. No, you have to jump in the water and do it. So it's always a fine line between how much are you going to do. And I'm not trying to take away my own responsibility into this, because we're trying to, first of all, we're only 2 years in, so we have progress to make, a lot of progress to make. But at the same time, I want to share what I come up with, and I expect people to know where they are. Like we're going back to auto-regulation. That's what I believe in. It's like people should know and feel where they are and work their way from there. Otherwise, it's me telling you what to do. We're back in the school system. Yeah. I don't know where you are.
So one of the questions that we got was, this person says, I'm a trainer at a Globo Gym, and sometimes I also train people at their houses. Yeah. I have almost no access to the type of equipment that you show in your videos, but I still want to help people using the StrongFit system because I understand, what did I miss? Oh, because I think everything you say makes perfect sense. I understand that the equipment and exercises that you use are the what, and most important are the why and the how, the principles. But without any way to apply the principles, the trainer seems to just be lost.
Yeah, okay.
Although so, I understand the benefits of the equipment you use, the majority of trainers don't have sandbags, yokes, and sleds available that impact our adherence to the system, which would be a shame as the system can be very beneficial for the general population. So the question is, have you thought about this, and do you have any sort of solution for how to implement the principles with, like, really solely with, it seems like, conventional?
Yeah, okay, and there's a point to this as well. Like first, okay, so we're gonna have to meet in the middle on this. But I agree to a point that I'm only talking about the exercises that I like, because I think they are more efficient, right? And I also have my own bias towards strongmen and stuff like that, because for example, powerlifting exercise irritate my soft tissue far more than strongmen. So it's kind of funny. You have a guy like Derek Poundstone, the strongman, right, who was doing most of his work as basically heavy bodybuilding, right? Yep. And he never bothered his soft tissue, joints, or anything. And he needed very little strongman because he couldn't, right? And you have a Yoke who did most of his work in strongman. I had a problem, but not that much in powerlifting outside of deadlifting. Yeah. Right? And so you had, depending on people, they have their own bias in the sense of really what works for them. I am someone that can do strongman every day. Yeah. Well, they tell you don't do it more than twice a week because you'll get messed up. I'm someone who can do it every day. For whatever reason, I can do heavy carries almost every day and never pay the price for it. I've done an 800 pounds yoke carry every week for 3 years in a row, whatever the hell it was. And I did 1,000 pounds yoke carry all the way up to my femurs bending. And it did not impact me in the sense I was tired for one day. I think I trained the next day, if not the day after that. Within 48 hours, I was training, like it never impacted me. But you make me deadlift and squat heavy in the same week, and by week 3, I'm fucked. Yeah. If I deadlift and squat, I can't press. My back, it's just, the whole thing goes to shit. So I can't do powerlifting, I can't do heavy barbell on a regular basis. It destroys me. Soft tissue joints just don't like it. Well, strongman doesn't bother me at all. So if I do too much bodybuilding, same issue. Like it seems to destroy, not so much my soft tissue, but my nervous system does not recover well. I don't know the way I'm doing it. I'm doing it wrong, obviously, but it just doesn't fit me. So the problem with that is I developed my own bias coming with this. So naturally, I evolved with the movement I was good at, and that made me feel awesome. So I developed the system with my own bias in that sense. So it's true that in that I need to improve on that so that I can give more weapons for people to do stuff like that. On the other side, we're going to have to meet in the middle because a lot of time with the system, people take it and they just want to make it in the most convenient way. And we're going to have to understand that it doesn't work like that. A lot of the stuff that I do is based on evolutionary biology. I did not decide which planes of movement the body is designed for. I did not decide whether the grip or stuff like that. I just followed evolutionary biology, what I see, and based on that, I came to certain conclusions. So you don't get to change the evolution that taken place in the last 300,000 years because you only have a lat pull-down machine at your gym. Like, what do you want me to do? I didn't make up the rules. I'm just trying to follow them. Talk to the guy upstairs, if he actually existed. It's not, like some of the stuff is, it's not my choice. I didn't come up with the shit. I just basically put it on the blackboard for people to see, but it's not my thing. It's like Einstein didn't invent relativity. He just came up with the equation, but the stuff happens in the universe versus Einstein exists or not. So a lot of the stuff, I'm just following what evolution is asking us to do. Right? So there's going to have to be a happy medium between convenience in that sense. And you know what bothers me the most about the fitness industry is actually something that bothers me about society right now in general, is the way we look at human consciousness, for example, is always put aside like it's a hippie thing that is only for chakras and DMT and all that shit. Like, if you look, for example, nutrition or stuff like that, like the taste of sweet in your mouth is basically, people will explain to you as the molecule of sugar triggers certain receptors in your tongue that go to your brain, therefore giving you the impression that this is sweet. Whereas actually the reality is it's just a molecule. That feel of sweetness is actually just an illusion that your brain creates. And that's how most people think that. I mean, the reality is in the inert material that goes in your mouth. Your perception of it is the illusion. And it bothers me on so many levels. Like, people think that's how the world works, but actually quantum mechanics has proven that it is not. I don't want to go into quantum cosmology, even though I'm sure you can't wait.
I mean, I don't know how I would steer that back to anything.
Exactly, because I mean, you can't wait to go into that, right? But basically, it was the whole idea that matter defines space, that we're going to understand space by understanding what matter does. And actually, quantum cosmology is showing you that actually we are explaining matter based on space, like the space as a geometry, right? That can explain the way matter acts, not the other way around. So.
And back to the sugar analogy, yep. What the way we like to look at things is that the sensation of sweet is really the only thing that is.
The only thing that consciousness does not need matter to exist. That's what actually, in a weird way, quantum mechanics is showing us, because there's a problem of you observing certain things in quantum mechanics that change the event itself. So there's an entire issue there that we don't understand. I'm not saying consciousness creates reality. There's just something there we don't understand. But what it shows is that consciousness itself is a reality, right? The thing is, for us as human beings, the only thing you have is consciousness. That's the only real thing you have. You know it's sweet. That's the only thing you know for real. The molecule, all that stuff is a theory that you don't know about. And so the only thing that is real to you is a consciousness. Consciousness does not need matter to exist. There is consciousness whether or not the molecule of sugar is there. So the only thing we have really is our perception of reality. That is the only thing real to us. And yet, we are acting like this is the illusion. That the stuff that is only a theory, which is how that molecule of sugar, what it is and everything, and this only a theory, because trust me, quantum mechanics is telling us that the world is not nearly as deterministic as Isaac Newton wanted us to think. And we've basically switched to think reality is the non-life, and then life is an illusion in a way. And so, what does that mean for the fitness folks? Let's get out of quantum.
I was just about to ask. I was like, all right, so how does
you follow me on this.
How does this get to the Globo Gym guy?
Yeah, so basically what we're going to say is we just need to load muscle.
Yeah.
It makes no difference.
Yeah.
Right? So how you feel with an exercise, do you feel the muscle working? As long as you feel the muscle working, it's all the same. Yeah. Grip, angle, whatever. I change the angle because you target the muscle a bit differently. But there's that idea that the reality is the weight that is moved or stuff like that. It's like a calorie is a calorie. As long as you put the calorie in, it makes no difference, right? Like your interpretation of what's happening has no impact on what's happening itself, right? That you feel the weight, it's going to create blood flow and everything, but it's about lifting the weight. It's not about how you lift the weight, it's about lifting the weight itself. It's that negation of your own consciousness that bothers me on many levels, because many times what they're saying is like, I don't have this, but can I do it with that?
Yeah.
I'm like, does it fit the principles? Like, how do you feel the movement? How do you, that's where the conversation has to happen also. And a lot of time those questions is like, can you just tell me what to do?
Yeah.
And that might not be what he's asking.
No, but that's exactly what I was just about to say. It's like, all right, well, what can he do and can't he do? You know,
all right. So
that's but that is also maybe not necessarily what we want to be doing. Is just, all right, don't think about it. Just do the things that we're going to list off. But there's going to be some sort of limitation. Like, how about this? What specifically are they missing out on by doing it in a Globo Gym setting without some of these?
Okay, so for example, let's take pull-ups. Everybody does pull-ups, right? So what we have with the pull-ups is basically you have a grip that is like this. That is the most convenient way for you to grab a bar, because it's easier than open or palm or stuff like that. And then you're going to wear gloves because that way it doesn't hurt your fingers. All right, so let's talk about the classical lat. Maybe I do lat pull-up instead of pull-up. Doesn't matter, right? Okay, so first of all, you are negating a number of things. By putting gloves, you are negating the fact that we have proprioception in the hands. That we have the outside of the hand, like by the palm right here, that will activate more external torque, because it's an antenna, if you want. Like, we are negating the fact that we have antennas on the hand. When you do handstand walk or stuff like that, you're going to put the palm first to test if the ground on which you're applying pressure is stable or not. Doing that on grass, you want to know if you're going to basically fall through a hole and pop your shoulder. So you're going to go palm, and then to control and to balance, you're going to go toward the like that spot under the first digit, right, of the index finger, which is the proprioception for internal torque. So you're going to go from the palm through that first knuckle of the index finger, and that line right here is what goes for antenna to control. So this is 300,000 years of evolution, right, that taught us to move based on proprioception. So what does that mean? That means this is your contact with the outside world. It's the antennas that you have in your feet and hands. It's not the only ones, but it is 90% for movement based. You leave stuff that you can grab, carry, right? So that means it's hands and feet at 90% of the stuff, right? So 300,000 years of evolution got us to basically understand what is happening around us. So our perception of reality goes through the nervous system for movement through proprioception, hands and feet. So you put in gloves, you're numbing that. So right away, you are numbing the response of the nervous system to movement. Would that be an issue?
Definitely.
Exactly, but not if you think it's about moving the weight. It makes no difference.
So that's really a matter then of somebody taking, say even that concept, right, is something that they can then take and use to enhance the conventional things that they're doing in a global
so
gym,
we're going
right?
to start with that. So let's say I only have a lat pull-on machine with a thin bar. Okay, so we can do that. That means that whenever I want external torque, I can start pressing toward the outside of the hand. Whenever I have internal torque, I can start basically grabbing, just like a gymnast, toward that first digit.
And that's going to give you better engagement
of
with
external
the
torque
right
or
things,
internal torque based on what I want. So that means that as a trainer, first of all, you're going to have to understand the difference between external torque and internal torque. Otherwise, what difference does it make? So that means that you have to understand what is it you're trying to achieve. Do you want the teres major versus the lat dorsal? Is it heavy? Is it explosive? Once you understand that, then you can start playing with proprioception to make the movement more efficient toward what is it you're looking for. So that's one way to apply the StrongFit principles to the Globo Gym, right? But so after that also, like let's go back to pull-ups, you have to understand that grip strength means fingers versus palm, right? You have finger strength, which is here, versus palm, which is like a false grip, right? It's not the same thing. If I go with the fingers like this, right, I can load my biceps far more, brachialis, stuff like that. I can target certain, maybe the teres major and everything, but it won't be nearly the same thing as doing a pull-up using the palm and not the fingers anymore. So how would I use just the palm? You can use like the top of a rig where they do pull-ups, right? When they have a fat beam or whatever, and then I could basically wrap my hands around that. What would be the difference? The difference is I can't use my fingers anymore. I have to squeeze the shit out of the beam to stabilize. By squeezing, that means I'm going to engage my pec, I'm going to engage the short head of the bicep. So instead of being toward the brachialis, toward the external torque, I'm going to stay with an internal torque. Having to squeeze, I'm going to engage my pec and my biceps to do pull-ups. So now I've changed the angle, I've changed the perception of the exercise. The exercise is not the same anymore. So we have to get away from that mentality that pulling is just pulling. But that pull-on is the same no matter what you do. No, proprioception will change, and the grip itself, palm versus fingers, will change the movement as well. And so now we can start playing with different grip that allow us to get to different movement. So I'm more than willing to help trainers with that. But we're going to have to all agree that just pulling is not the same. That's the problem. Is I go too far one way, but they go too far the other one.
It's very, part of it, what it sounds to me like is that you almost need just to have a more comprehensive understanding of the things that we're talking about. You know what I mean? Because as you get into the Globo Gym, it's the concern is of the implements. And I ran into this before. I had saw you and heard of the things you were talking about. I was like, oh, fucking sandbags sound cool. It seems to make sense to me, but with no understanding of actually what I should be doing with it. So then I'm sitting here, I spent 6 months before I did the seminar doing sandbag squats, completely upright, internal torque down, or external torque down, external torque up.
That's the problem when I tell you what to do. Or
exactly.
That's the problem when you hear me say something, you say, oh, he said to do that. No, that's not what I said.
It's the same thing with our like, we'll have people that'll start to mimic, well, they saw you carry a sandbag a certain way. And they say, well, he's leaned back like this. It's like, yeah, but his body is shaped differently than yours.
Okay, so that's another problem too, is they look at a video. I try to explain also, like, do this, but that's not what they're listening to. That's not what they're reading. What they're reading is, his back is arched.
So it
and
looks,
no matter what I say, yeah,
it looks like this.
because
but
I'm so fucking arch naturally. People don't understand. Like I've been saying, they say your back doesn't touch. Yeah, because I have a big ass and I'm extremely arch naturally. When I was a kid, you could put half a soccer ball in my back. That's why I started swimming.
Plus, I think trying to
My ribs stick out all the time because I was so arch naturally.
trying to diagnose where tension is just based solely on a
can't.
position is
Oh, it's
fucking
so hard.
dangerous.
It's
I mean,
so hard,
that's the mindless coaching thing.
Yeah.
That's I see a snapshot,
Yeah.
and I'm not paying attention to what's actually on and
Yeah,
what's
it's
not.
taking a painting, you take one corner of the painting and you go like, oh yeah, I'm going to base my understanding on this.
And that's the hardest thing we have about trying to disseminate some of this information online, is that it's hard to get those details to someone without
Very
making
hard.
them
But
feel
it-
it.
Yes,
It's hard.
but there's also the other side where they're just not willing to go there
That's
either.
also true.
Right, because one of the criticism I have when I talk about internal torque and external torque that were sent at me was like, oh my God, I have to explain people another thing, like it's a cue. And they're like, and actually there was a conversation where the guy, I remember, like he didn't use me by name, but he started blasting me saying, how dare you introduce another cue for people, it's so complicated. And the entire argument was like, when I just want people to squat, I'll tell them squat.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? So, and I was like, okay, first of all, you're fucking kidding me. You're telling me like someone is gonna come to train with you, and then when they ask you what should I do to squat, you tell them to just squat. That's it. So first of all, what do they need you for? Because you can just write it down on a chalkboard and then you come and just squat. And I was like, that's a nonsensical statement. He was like, yeah, well, I give them this cue or that cue. I was like, so now we're back to you giving you cues. So what you're saying is that internal torque is not as good of a cue as have your knees out.
Because it requires them to actually have an understanding of what that means.
Exactly. So, but that's the problem is they're going to use an excuse saying like, oh yeah, but you're saying it's too many things to tell my people. No, don't tell the other cues. Give a better one. So I'm not saying to do more. I'm saying to do better. I think internal torque is a better cue because it's tension over you explaining position. It's very easy to tell people knees out. Mm-hmm. It's a lot harder to tell them to engage the right muscles.
And I always did it the other way anyways, where I went under the assumption that my clients that were paying me to do the thing, they wanted to feel. It was my job to make them feel certain things, certain muscles, enjoy their time there. But I don't think I ever stood and just told them about internal torque and that that's the thing that they want.
Yeah, you don't
what
have
I
to
did
do
is
that,
I went into like, no, I want like this and this and this. I taught it based on how, like I knew the concept.
Yep.
They don't need to know all that because your clients don't fucking care.
They don't need to.
Just get the right muscles on and let them have a good time,
But
and
we
you'll
can,
be all
yeah,
right.
we can still give them knowledge. We can tell which muscle they should feel and everything.
And I think
then,
physical knowledge
yes,
is where it's important.
is a key. Yes. Yes,
And-
that they feel again, like auto-regulation, right? They need to feel movement, which is another criticism. Like, oh, they can't feel glutes.
Because I learned that
Like,
same
then
thing
that's your job.
in my other line of work, where I was a technician and I would go to somebody's place, and I found all the time once you learn a new thing, it's very tempting to say, oh, you got a voltage problem here, and there's this and there's that, and the hoo-ha and all these things. Yeah. And people, they just go, what the fuck, just fix my fucking air conditioning.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
Like,
tell me how to turn it on and off.
Yeah, it's like I called you here to fix my fucking air conditioning. I don't need to learn about how my shit works.
Yeah.
And a lot of our clients on the ground, that's okay.
By the way,
they have jobs.
You
and
don't
shit
need to know
worry
the
about.
voltage and stuff like that, but you need to know like when the air conditioning doesn't work there, this is a button you press.
Yeah.
When it doesn't work here, this is how to turn it off.
Yeah.
Or how to gauge the temperature.
Yeah,
You do need to do stuff like that.
And that was the thing, is the only education that I would do is to, one, tell them the concept. All right, I'm going to just fix it roughly so here's so you understand what you're paying for, kind of.
Yes,
but that was all vague because they don't care about the details and it confuses them. But what you would do is thoroughly communicate to them anything that they interact with, their interface. And that's what we need to do with people.
That's what we need to do, right?
Is I just need you to know, like this is what I want you to feel, and this here, and
So
this
now,
here.
yes.
Not like here's how the entire body works.
For sure,
That's
but-
our job to know that.
But the question becomes what is the interface? And that's where I disagree with most people out there, is they telling me the interface is the weight.
Yeah.
Move the weight, 85%, maybe 86, 4, so many sets, they're telling me that's the interface. And that's where I disagree. Now you're talking about the molecule of sugar.
Yeah.
I think let's talk about the feeling of sweet. Is it sweet, is it sour? That's what we should be talking about, right? The problem that I see, that we had that podcast with Jackie yesterday, is most people can't tell me, if I give you this, is it sweet or sour? They go like, I can't tell the difference. I don't know if it's sweet or sour. And you're like, okay, if we don't start with that, then you can't win.
Yeah.
Right? So is it sweet or sour? Before we talk about which sugar it is in front of you, we have to talk about whether it's sweet or sour. Like, if you don't know that, then how can we possibly go anywhere?
And a lot of the issue is in trying to use words. Like you end up being so fucking handcuffed by like trying to put this into a goddamn sentence when it's like,
Because
listen, I
you're
just
also
want
trying
you.
to sound
How do
smart.
I describe what it feels like to have your pec on?
Yeah.
Like describe tension to a person.
And,
what
and
that
don't
should
get me
feel
wrong,
like. That's hard.
you have someone who's never trained and everything. But what I want for coaches also is to do better. We have to stop putting the responsibility on our clients. Oh, they don't feel their pec, that's their problem. No, that's why they're coming to see you. So I'm not saying it's all on you. I'm saying we're gonna have to find. I see too many coaches who are willing to put the blame always on their clients and not accepting that the way we're doing it as a community. So maybe it's not you personally as a trainer, right? But as a community of coaches. So I guess that's a deeper conversation, but a lot of people will go, I don't do that. I'm like, but we're doing it as a group.
Yeah.
So when does
So
it become...
it is you, the collective us.
It is a collective us. There is a problem with the collective us. So to me, the only way we get out of that is all of us, we start to do a little bit to change the collective us. Not to just to change yourself, like, well, that's not, the other ones are not my problem. But it is, because it's a coach. If we keep doing like this, then everybody end up with basically, well, that's only what I want and everything, and we don't pull our resources and we don't become as good as we should be.
Yeah.
And if the group is not as good as it should be, then the individual won't be either, because then nothing gets moved forward.
I think that has a lot to do with, that's a lot of the issues now with where the fitness industry is too, is that people are refusing to learn from other people now. And that because look at all this information that everybody is using. Yeah. It's like up until about the mid-2000s, now everybody had to put a brand on it and they had to fight against anything else that anyone else is doing. Whereas up until that time, for 50, 60 years, it was, oh, they tried this, it was cool. Oh, yeah, that's neat, let's do this. And it's this fucking like hive fucking source of information. Everything was open source. But now, because the internet, everyone wants to monetize it, slap a name on it, and then they have to, it has to be the only way.
You know, the problem is they're making themselves different from the other ones. So that means literally taking yourself out of the group. So there used to be a tribe, right, within fitness. Like you look at the old gold gyms of the Arnold Schwarzenegger, it was a tribe of bodybuilders. They look at what the other one is doing and he was building like this. We are taking ourselves and going into individualistic position more and more and more. What that results is there's a shitload of knowledge, of information out there, and very little knowledge.
Yeah.
Because we're not just going like, you need to try this. It's like, look, my way is the only way. Take this, go out there and do exactly what I say. And that, because you can monetize it that way. So we're producing methods and we have basically gone away from knowledge exponentially the other way.
And the thing is, there still is so many people out there doing some really fucking cool things that are working on some really neat stuff.
And if you could just
can just do the thing, that's the thing.
At least listen to them.
What do I send? I send you fucking every other week. I was like, hey, it'd be cool if we should go do this thing with this guy or this thing.
Yes.
But like, because those, it's like, it's almost has a bit of an overlap in what we are talking about. And it's like, I want to take
what he said.
Yeah, I want to take the things that I recognize already, and I want to see where he's taking it, because it's valuable.
You know who was doing that
instead
all the
of
time?
fighting it off?
Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix, probably the greatest guitar player ever, right? We used to go to listen to bands, even if they were not good, to see if he could get one sound out of the whole evening. It's one of his band members was saying that. He would go to see groups that were not good. But he was like, oh, there was that one thing.
One thing you could
There was that
take
one
away.
thing, and then he would go and spend the night listening until, but maybe he get that one sound. Maybe he didn't, but maybe he get that one sound, and that was incorporated into his stuff. Where did we lose this? Like, we can't even listen now to other people without getting pissed. I listen to everyone. I don't necessarily agree.
Yeah.
But then if I don't agree, I'm like, why? But
There's always got to be something in
always
there
something.
that matters. And I think
there's always something. Because you don't know everything. So,
and
there's
so
always
maybe
something.
for the guy with the Globo Gym guy, maybe the thing is like, all right, just for now, try to understand more. You know what I mean? Try to get a little further immersed in things.
Why.
And then from there, take what you can use, and then dismiss the rest until you're able to apply.
Yeah, you saw me do the pull-ups on the yoke, right? Okay, you can do that at the Globo Gym. You don't have a yoke, but you'll find some kind of a pole to do pull-ups on. That would be better, because that would basically, you'll have different angles, different grip strength and stuff like that. When you press, how about not just pressing a dumbbell or a barbell? Can you press something that is somewhat unstable? You can use bands as a different stuff. But the key is you can't just, there has to be a why you do it. The problem is they're going to throw different size.
You can't just throw variation.
Exactly, just because it's different. I'm like, yeah, but then it has to take time or stuff like that. And most importantly, I would say with your clients is, how do they feel about the exercise? Is it different? That's really where you're going to get all the stuff. Is what are they feeling when they do this or that? Because you could do even all the exercise that I do and fuck all of them up. That doesn't mean you're going to do them right.
You've seen me do them.
Yeah.
I fuck all of them.
Yeah, sandbags. No, sandbag carries and everything.
Sandbag carries, sandbag squats.
So what did we do at
pressing.
first? It was like, I want you to do a sandbag carry like I do it every day. No, because you've never felt it where I wanted you to feel it. Therefore, you've never done a sandbag carry the way I asked for that particular purpose, right? So I understand that I have to give more cues toward exercises that they can actually do in the Globo Gym so that it's not impossible for them to do. I agree. But at some point, we're going to have to meet in the middle where you're actually trying to get away from the most convenient way of doing things because that's what people want. People don't hire you for what they want. They hire you for what they need.
And there's a fine line for us, StrongFit, we got to walk that line where like we do need to explain those types of things more thoroughly, more openly, and more consistently so that people do understand what things are, but without taking away the ability for them to learn. Because then, if I am listing out every single very specific thing that needs to be on and engaged in a sandbag carry, like that whole process, then it becomes But it's tough because like those are things that we do want to have people doing them right.
But to me, it's also.
But I need them to understand.
There's a Pandora's box there because you want me to tell. Let's say not that guy. I'm talking in general.
Yeah.
You want me to tell you how to do exactly what to do on a sandbag carry. Okay, I can list you all the stuff I want you to feel. You start walking, the only thing you have is your lower back.
That's all
you're going to freak out.
Yeah.
You're going to freak out and you're in the wrong nervous. But the problem is you're freaking out. You don't understand why you're freaking out. So what I want me with all this is to tell you is let me tell you why you're freaking out so that you freak out less because you'll know there's a reason for it. And based on why you're freaking out, how do we get you away from it? Right? It's the idea also that if I tell you what to do is that you're starting as a blank page.
Yeah.
Where there's your body and I want you to engage external obliques and this and this and this. Okay, that's all I'm going to do.
Assuming that you can.
But there's a problem.
Yeah.
You think you're starting as a blank page. That is not true. You're coming into this with a baggage. Physical injuries, emotional injury, talent, predispositions.
Ego,
all that stuff, right? And the idea that me telling you what to do is me dealing with you as a blank page that will therefore be able to do things correctly is a pipe dream. It doesn't happen like that. You have to understand where you are, where you start, so that we can move forward toward a goal. But you are not starting as a blank page. So me telling you what to do is useless because I don't know where you are starting. The only person who knows is you. So auto-regulation is the only way.
It's almost like the job as a coach, really, in everything that we're trying to do here, is to get somebody from where they are to the point with which auto-regulation is the way things are for them.
And that's
now.
knowledge.
So
that's giving them knowledge, non-information. You are not a blank slate when you start.
And so to guide somebody from that really is just a process of guidance, and that's going to be slow. So
and it's a relationship, right? Yeah. And so I mean, this is what I go like, oh, I don't do that. Okay, that's not the coaching then.
Yeah.
And at least that's not my vision on what we're doing.
For sure, it's not what we want to do.
No. Yeah. Then if you want to do just that, then there's plenty of methods out there. But that is not what I do. That idea. Again, we're going back at the consciousness thing, right? I believe the biggest problem you see in Western society right now is that it's about the molecule of sugar and not your consciousness of it. Like the idea that the molecule of sugar is reality and your consciousness is illusion is wrong. It's wrong on a philosophical level, it's wrong on a physical level because this is, again, read about quantum cosmology, read about quantum mechanics, you will see that is not the way. This is what, it's been 100 years now. Quantum mechanics has proven that the deterministic way of looking at the universe, like it's all about, Newton's way, which is just about the molecule, is not correct. It's far more complex. What it is, we don't know. Don't get me wrong. But that idea that it's about the molecule of sugar bothers me on so many levels. It's not like that. It's consciousness is what matters. And this is a hippie-ish thing, I guess I will ever say, but that's what it's about. That's what people going into fitness by hating themselves never works out.
Yeah.
People have goals that are just enough not to hate themselves. Guess what? That's about as far as you're going to go. That's a conversation with Jackie. She's doing stuff just enough not to hate herself, right? I don't want to get fatter. I'm not happy with where I am, but at least I won't get worse. Yeah. That's a horrible way. That you can't make progress like that. That's why she got stuck for 2 years. At some point, you're going to have to learn to love yourself, because that means the goal is going to go from just enough not to hate myself to actually I want more. I want to look like that. So now you start to visualize the future that you want instead of visualizing the past that you don't want anymore.
Yeah.
That's what they do. Not hating yourself just means like, I was there, I don't want to be there anymore. Okay? But you're never going into the future going, this is where I want to be. So you're only thinking about what happened and never what's coming. That's just enough not to hate yourself. I fundamentally disagree with the vision we have of the human experience. And you see that a lot with the programming where they basically, it's like, I don't care how you feel. How many diets is like, I don't care how you feel about food. Yeah, I'm going to change your relationship to food, suck it up. Force feed, stuff like that. I'm like, that is insane. That is not correct. It's not working. By the way, we're losing. Yeah. It's not working.
Yeah, that's the problem, is it works on some individuals. And even then, a lot of that is short term. But as a society, none of it works. As a whole,
okay, so
the whole thing is moving.
So what we're doing is we're taking a few individuals, see, that's working. Therefore, it's the weirdest argument where we take just a very few individuals. So that's anecdotal evidence. See, it works for them. From there, we come up with some kind of a study that prove that part, and now we're going to force feed all this to the rest. So it's a weird tyranny of the majority coming from a minority. It is such a weird argument, right? And now if you don't follow that study that was based on, so like, that's why I wrote like studies are written by the victors, because that's what we say about history. History is written by the victors, so it changes a lot of stuff. That's what the fitness world is doing now. We're taking the victors. We do certain studies that are not taking into account the nervous system, or we'll talk about nutrition for that. And then we come up with those rules. Anybody who does not fit within the rules is their fault. Yeah. It's their problem, their fault. It's because they're too weak, they're whatever it is. And that we are negating the entire human element in fitness, which is all about, it is about humans.
Yeah. And it costs us creativity. Like that's the thing that, and that's what, for the guy who asked the question, like that was the piece that Jackie had finally kind of came to the realization that like, when you understand the things a little bit better, then it becomes your own, like playground. Almost art form, where you get to sit and you get to have, like, oh, I have this idea, like I want to get somebody how to do this and this, like, let me try this, let me put this here, and you're able to really, like, it's never about the exercise anymore. So what the exercise is just a tool that you're using, and you're choosing that tool, and in a lot of them, you know, are people who, when they finally get it, they're coming up with new shit all the time then, which is great. Reuse. We have really new, that's my favorite thing from the mentoring program is some of these guys will have like, oh, I had this idea, it's really neat, and it's like, fucking cool, because I couldn't have thought of that because that's not my relationship to this part of the process yet. So we're able to get, but once that creativity gets moving, it really then matters less about where you are and what tools you're using, because you're going to be able to make things work.
And can we also mention that creativity is not seeing someone on the internet do something you don't know and trying it on your clients. No. That's not being creative, all right? That's just, a lot of people think they're being professional because they're following a template or a program, and they take their own creativity out of it. You're not being professional. Like, that's what they think. It's like by removing all their own emotion and or stuff like that, they're just being professional, and I'm going to follow a method that works and everything. That method works maybe, but that you don't know if it's going to work for your clients and everything. But they think they're being professional by basically being cold, you know, like following the steps and everything, where that's not true at all. You are negating the human experience. You are negating your human experience as a coach of trying to read
what's going on
with your client and go like, ooh, let me try this and this. First of all, you're going to have to try on yourself to see if the exercise works, but after you have to be able to read your people, basically, and pounding the thing like this, basically, the first thing that goes away is you reading all that information that is coming out of your client that is telling you to do something versus another. Yeah. So that's where the art form is. It's teaching dance, Jiu-Jitsu, stuff like that. That's what coaching is, movement. We're coaching movement. We are not poor man's physios. We're not here to do this for 6 weeks. That's not true. We have been, I feel there's a shift also where the medical profession has taken the trainers, make them feel really bad about themselves, and trying to take them toward being like them, just lesser people.
Yeah.
So like trainers, like a physiotherapist, just not as good. It's lesser, and you should stay within in line and stay right there because they're basically the donkeys of the medical profession, where you guys going to do as we say, and you're going to carry the load.
Yeah, you're just told to stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane, shut up, and be the donkey, right? And we are actually, I think, us as trainers, that's not what we do at all. What we are is we are movement specialists. We are dance teachers, martial arts instructors, whatever you want to see it. We teach people how to move. We are on that side. And there's an art form there, right? That comes from reading the person in front of you and going like, oh, you need this, right? Yeah. No, it's not position of the joint, is you don't have the tension to create that movement, and I need to give you this. Just like a dance teacher would go like, okay, that movement is a problem, let's try to see, and then you make the person feel the movement, otherwise they can't do it themselves.
Yeah.
Instead of saying like, incline.
Yeah.
Incline dumbbell.
And the creativity when applied to martial arts, that's an interesting thing. We actually had a question about that too. Somebody had asked kind of how to, how to use the things that we use
for
in
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and stuff like that. Yeah. So there's two aspects to that question, right? The question would be like, what kind of training should we use to get people to do better in their Jiu-Jitsu career and stuff like that? So let's start with that one. So that means like, for example, it's injury prevention to a degree. Don't get me wrong. Jiu-Jitsu, a guy is going to crank your shoulder. There's nothing you can do about that. Yeah. But what we can do is we can build a structure, a body that is more likely to handle the amount of damage on the soft tissue that Jiu-Jitsu does.
We can become more durable, right?
Exactly.
Like it's just,
and that's a fact, right? Yeah. There's too many Jiu-Jitsu guys that's basically, unfortunately, when the Gracie family came in, they say you don't lift weight. It makes you stiff, it makes you not mobile, and that's ridiculous. It just depends how you do things, right? Yeah. The weights are not to blame, right? Just like carbs don't make you fat. Too much carbs don't make you fat, but carbs in itself are not evil. It just depends how you use them. It was the same thing with weight. If you take a bodybuilder that does that only for a shape of a muscle and to go on stage, and especially with the steroids being involved, the force feeding, all that nutrition that is based on one thing only, which is getting bigger, yes, you make them do Jiu-Jitsu, the first month is going to be rough.
Yeah.
The guy is 5'6", 300 pounds. Yeah, it's going to be a bit rough, but I don't know anybody who's 5'6", 300 pounds that can move well anyway. I'm sure there's some guys, but they're not that many. They're the exception. Let's put it this way. It's going to be rough. Right?
They'd be really useful at just squeezing you. That's about it.
They would probably go very good at it too, by the way, especially when they're on top, right? Yeah. So you have the bodybuilder comes in and he's, like, I don't care, 185, 200 pounds, 6 foot tall, but they're like, oh, see, he's not moving as well as his muscle should be. Yeah, because he doesn't have the skill. Yeah. It's like saying a bodybuilder can play golf. Yeah, but you can't blame muscle for not being able to swing a golf. You just don't know how to swing a golf club.
And I've never known anybody to be too strong. I've known people who put way
use
too
strength.
Who put other things on the back burner in pursuit of strength, and now that process leaves them with major deficiencies. Yep. But I've never seen like being too strong in Jiu-Jitsu is not a thing unless you're too strong and you can't fucking move worth a shit.
But that's the problem, is you can't move. That's nothing to do with your strength. You can be very strong and still move. So the thing is, okay, but if
all things are equal,
exactly,
skill level, everything,
wins
work capacity,
every single time.
The strongest person can just bully his way
all the time.
through.
Exactly. So the problem is some people will not balance their training. But that's another thing altogether. So it's not the weights that is to be blamed. Is training correctly, not at the expense of technique, obviously, is the key. So, but before we get stronger for Jiu-Jitsu, I want to make sure we're durable enough to train enough. That should be the first thing. Like that idea that, for example, weights are evil, we see now after a whole generation of Gracies, we're on the third one now, that all the early guys that were starting no weights, none of that durability training, basically got beat up really bad, right? And now you start to see that the weights can actually help you get stronger, but also allows you to last longer. We used to say that about every sport. Tennis, don't lift weight, you'll be slow. Yeah. Sprinting, they all lift weight. Now, there's a reason, because it helps if you do it correctly. So the first thing is, how do we get more durable with Jiu-Jitsu? So that means that we need a structure that can take the abuse, right? That's the S pyramid we talk about all the time. I strongly believe that strongman exercises can help you in that sense, because they're going to allow you to load your spine in a safe way. Why? Because there's so little skill involved, right? So just by carrying stuff like that, your trunk is going to become stronger. Your capacity to load your spine is going to be much, much higher, but in a safer, maybe not safe, but safer environment, because there's a lot less skill involved.
Plus the things you have to do in any grappling sport where you're trying to protect your own spine, you're doing it in a compromised position almost always. You're just finding raw fucking just tension from wherever you can. Yeah. And so what happens is you're never getting any of that side of things where you're loading your spine in the way that we're talking about with weighted carries. So you're only adapting on this one side of things, which then the other side of that arch is deficient, and that's where you're going to peak.
Yeah, and the key with this is in your training, they're telling you to avoid that tension where you're being put in a super uncomfortable position and you have to sometimes muscle your way out of that. You don't want to do that in training. If you do too often, you'll break, right? Yeah. So the only place where you can actually find that is through your training in a controlled environment. And that's why training is going to be for. Because you don't want to basically fight yourself in compromising position during your training. You're going to die. We all tried and that did not end well. What you want to do is you want to do it in a controlled environment, which will be in the gym. So, for example, a heavy sandbag carry will force you to control rotation and anti-rotation while something weighs on you in a way that forces you to squeeze. That is highly, highly beneficial for Jiu-Jitsu. It will make you stronger and again more durable overall in a controlled environment, right? You can't just use body weight, won't do it because there's not enough load in certain positions on the structure, right? And if you do it through training, you're going to be that's a dangerous way of doing it. Like most people will break, right? So the training can provide a controlled environment so we can start working in those weird positions. And if you don't do it then, if you wait until it happens in a match, most likely there you'll get hurt because it's not a controlled environment. The guy is trying to take your head off.
Yeah, and you're not competing. That the whole goal of that competition is not to then adapt. I mean, you need to go there fully equipped.
Exactly, right? Because that's not the time to work on your technique. No. It's not a competition, right? Or even if you're sparring with a guy who's going at it, this is not this survive and then win. That's the two things. So, but those weird movements, that awkward strength that comes from lifting something that is uneven, that is shifting to one side or stuff like that, that's what the gym is for. Take a sandbag, it's an uneven weight, try to lift it while one foot is on the plate or stuff like that. And now you can build the strength that is required for those awkward movements. The gym is the place where you want to do it. You can't do it outside of that. It's very, very dangerous to think you're going to work on that during sparring. So we can use the gym equipment for that. Now, can I use a GloboGym for Jiu-Jitsu? It's feasible, but now you're adding a lot of difficulties as to find those awkward positions. Is still feasible, but now we're going to do a lot of unilateral work, the bipolar work and stuff like that, so I can get those weird angles and start to make you strong at it. A sandbag is going to be a lot better. If you can't have a sandbag, then fine. Then there are ways to do it in a Globo Gym.
Then you got to be really precise, and you have to really know what you're after.
Exactly. You're going to have to be so precise. Like it's feasible, but oh my goodness, you're going to have to be precise.
That's part of the nice thing about some of these tools that we use is that it does just make it almost somewhat not automatic, but it makes it much easier. It just kind of forces you into the right tension.
And that means
that's the beauty of the bag in front of you. You have two ways to handle it. You're either going to be with it and anchor it right, or you're going to fight it. And if you fight it, you're going to lose.
And you're going to know right away that you're fighting it. That's the key, right? So as a coach, asking you to brace properly, I give you a heavy sandbag, you're going to brace properly because you don't have a choice. Yeah. If I don't have the sandbag and I need to explain to you how to brace properly on a back squat, on a leg press machine or stuff like that, it is feasible, but oh my God, it's going to be a shitload of work.
Yeah.
So we can get there, but then the less of those or that equipment that you have, the more precise you're going to have to be in your understanding of the principles.
When you were training Jiu-Jitsu, what was your, I mean, I know you had some issues trying to do strength training and Jiu-Jitsu at the same time just because of your,
and I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, and you didn't know what you were doing. What were the biggest, what do you think you fucked up on in your training?
Bodybuilding.
That's what you did?
Oh, yes, what I did.
Was that all you could do?
No, that's all I knew.
It's just what you chose to do.
I mean, I was doing bodyweight exercises, which work really well, but I was like, I need to be stronger. So didn't know how to squat, I was at the Globo Gym in my 20s, like in Venice, actually. Yeah. And just build muscle. So just do bodybuilding, you'll build muscle, therefore you'll be better at Jiu-Jitsu, which helped, but I could have done it far more efficiently. Yeah. Right. So weightlifting is important, but doing pure bodybuilding, like 5 sets on the bicep and stuff like that, No, there are better ways to do this. You need compound movements, right? You need to learn to squat properly. That doesn't mean the problem is then people take that and then they do powerlifting.
Yeah.
Just like John Jones, right? He say, oh, I'm going to do powerlifting. It's like powerlifting is a sport.
Yes.
It's a performance-based sport that is designed for one thing only, is to lift a barbell off the floor.
And
That doesn't mean it's going to translate to MMA.
And then he failed his drug test right after that.
Yeah, well, the cocaine one too. So, but I love that he blamed powerlifting for his poor performance.
Yeah.
And after that, of course, some trainers used him blaming powerlifting
Yeah.
to say, see, lifting weights is bad for Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
I was like, wait. The guy used a sport, right, that is designed to lift a barbell for MMA while he was getting busted for cocaine and steroids, and using that argument to say lifting weights is bad for Jiu-Jitsu. I'm like, come on, guys. Like, you know what I mean? Like, really, like, it's just bad faith. Come on, this is a bad faith argument now. You're just trying to tell to everybody that you're right and everybody else is wrong. I'm like, okay, then do that, but that's not a conversation. Come on, give me a fucking break.
That's just a when in Rome thing.
Yeah, it's like you're taking
powerlifters. Just take some drugs now. It's cool.
but like you're taking that one example of a dude who's been on cocaine for you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
And by the way, no, don't do powerlifting to get better at MMA. Lifting weight is not doing powerlifting. Powerlifting is trying to max out on the sumo deadlift. Okay, I don't know that it's going to get you better at jiu-jitsu, that's true, but that's not what we're saying when we say lift.
We want you to just be stronger, like actually stronger.
Like, get your structure stronger, heavy yoke carries, stuff like that, everything. So again, like, there are other ways to do it in a Globo Gym for sure, but you're making your life more and more, let's say not harder, but more precise by the second, the more you get away from exercises that, by the way, carries have been done for like 300,000 years. Like, for 300,000 years, humans have lifted, and to lift anything, they had to squeeze it.
Yeah.
So it's like a sandbag. The sandbag is the functional movement. The idea that we can do everything with a barbell is just plain wrong.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, I still enjoy barbell training.
For sure.
And so,
I'm not denying that.
And that's a piece that I think is important to remember is like, but is that tool on its own maybe a little less than optimal? Probably, but nothing is fully ideal.
Yes.
But for me, what it is I enjoy squatting, benching, and deadlifting with a barbell because I just like to do it.
Yeah.
But I also know that, like, when I get my shit gets messed up, that's the tool that is it. I mean, and if I get dinged up, I know what not to do because I'm not dogmatic that that's the only way to get strong.
And the thing also is people talk about, oh yeah, we're going to get strong. I'm like, okay, but what I've seen is people that use only the barbell start to develop massive imbalances. Why? Because it's not a functional movement. You can tell me whatever you want. Yeah. It's not the most functional movement. Maybe it's more functional than say that a hammer strength machine. Okay. Yeah. But it's not the most functional.
And it's great. You can progressively load it. You can incrementally load it.
Okay,
you can put
that's
heavy weights.
There's a problem too, is at the expense of what?
Yeah.
The barbell has a tremendous effect on soft tissue health. You can tell me whatever you want, like the heavy squats and everything. See people, their hips, their knees and everything. If you're going to do heavy squats on a regular basis, like your jiu-jitsu might suffer at some point because it grinds your hips in a way that the sandbag doesn't.
Yeah.
So, but the idea is like, they're going to take, so again, we're going back to, instead of specializing, we're going back to fragmentation. We're going to take one exercise, the barbell back squat. I went from 400 to 420. I got stronger. Done.
Yeah.
I'm like, you got stronger? Okay.
And then what else?
Then what else happened?
Yeah.
High your hips, high your knees. Can you actually move your hips in a way, not because of stiffness or stuff like that, but because your soft tissue just got pummeled and everything, in a way that doesn't let you move the way you should on the ground and everything. Then it's detrimental to you. You got stronger, but it's not getting stronger that was detrimental to you. So in that case, the barbell was. Whereas if I take
the way you got there, that was.
If I take a sandbag that doesn't fuck up your soft tissue, let's say the way the barbell back squat did, and I go from a 200-pound sandbag squats to a 240, you get stronger. Chances are your structure is better. Now, are your hips better than when you do then we're gonna go with a sandbag.
Do you think some of the I won't say criticism, but like some of the people who are really just dogmatic about the barbell, who aside from powerlifting, because that's the sport, right? You're going to have to use the barbell.
You have to use the barbell.
But people who train who just are still kind of just married to the barbell, how much of that has to do with the fact that maybe the numbers are less satisfying or impactful? Because I can, all right, in 6 months I went from 600-pound squat to 620.
Yeah, or 622.
Whereas it's like, well,
I had a PR.
it's a little less sexy to be like, yeah, I mean, I squatted a heavy sandbag until I threw up, and that was like 30 reps. But now this time I went with a heavier bag and got it for 30. It still fucking killed me and made me want to die.
But so there's a tremendous amount of dogma with the barbell that I found fascinating. Like there was a way where they were saying like the squat with the barbell is the best exercise because it loads the hips. I'm like, but the sandbag loads the hips. Yeah, but you can put way more weight on a barbell. Therefore, it's better.
The way I look at it is also you can, I think with the bag, you can squat a sandbag to the point where you literally cannot stand it up if you want to. If you want to talk about overload, you can do that. If you do that with a barbell, you're going to get fucking stapled.
The idea is now they're starting to use, again, Newton's laws in that case, saying, look, power is this versus that, weight versus this, and so it's basically the force being engaged by the length of the movement and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, but see, if we're going with this, I mean, the Smith machine is better than the barbell because I can put more weight on the Smith machine than I can on a barbell because there's less stabilization happening. So if we're going to go by how much weight I'm putting on the legs, I'm going to go Smith machine. Squat machine allows me to put more weight. So now that's better. Leg press, all right, you want to do standing up, okay, then squat machine is better than a barbell. And then they're going to go, oh, no, because we're talking functional. All right, so which one is it?
Slightly more functional?
Okay, so then which one is it? Are we trying to go like, well, it's more weight and more functional? I'm like, I disagree because now you're not taking into the nervous system or the soft tissue, all that stuff into account for Jiu-Jitsu in that sense, right? So again, the problem is instead of having the conversation as a whole, it's like we want Jiu-Jitsu, therefore we want stronger, durability, without the impact on the soft tissue and stuff like that. That's how we're supposed to choose the exercise. Instead of that, we're going to be dogmatic and say barbell.
Yeah, and I think that's important too, to where like I don't ever say everything's sandbag. Like,
no,
that's that's exactly what we talk in moderation, meeting in the middle, finding a way to make things work.
But at the same time, like evolution gave us guidelines. That one you don't get to change.
Yeah, we can't just
ignore
them.
You are entitled to your opinion and to what you prefer, but you're not entitled to your own facts. Right? Evolution gave us certain things to work with. You don't get to choose. I'm sorry, that part you cannot deny. It's evolutionary biology. You don't get to choose that one. So certain things you prefer, certain things you like, awesome, go do that. But evolutionary biology gave us certain things, right, that you cannot change. The planes of movement we have to go, like for example, loading a certain way. Carries are very important. Like you don't get to go, I can do the same thing with this and that. No, 300,000 years of evolution have given us certain guidelines that you don't get to go around.
Plus, it's okay too to like to do something that maybe isn't the best way to do it.
That's fine.
There's plenty of people that like to go. I probably am one of them who like to go out and maybe have a few too many drinks from time to time. That's probably not like that's not a step forward all the time. But like, but I like enjoying it.
The problem is when you try to tell me that's actually
the only way to do it.
Exactly.
Is to just rage.
It's much healthier to do it like that. I'm like, no, you just like it. I don't mind people liking the barbell. Me, I don't like it as much as most because my soft tissue get hammered more than when I do strongman. So therefore I go towards strongman more. But there's a lot of exercise I can do with a barbell, of course. The key is I'm not going to impose the way I feel about strongman on an overall. But for example, carries are a form of movement that is necessary.
It's missing in a lot of things too. It's missing in a lot of training.
Dan John talked about it a lot. Carries are basically 300,000 years carries. Like you have to build a hut. You have to take the shit over there and carry it there. You wrestle. There's a lot of stuff where your structure has to be strong. And the best way to do it is carries. I don't make up the shit. I just go with it. The best way for your structure to work is to do carries. Why? Because you're going to load your structure tremendously in a safer way. Why? Because there's less skill into carries than there are into a back squat, for example. But I'm still, when I do yoke carries, I still load the hips, I load the spine, and I have to go left, right. It's going to be far better than to do ass to grass squat for Jiu-Jitsu, for example. I'm sorry, like that's just.
And the thing with a carry that's in your hands or in your arms, what happens when you reach failure?
You just drop it and stuff. But also it teaches your body to handle the load, which is heavy, to handle the discomfort. Your nervous system, the proprioception. There's so many stuff that happens with a carry that just squatting ass to grass and back up with as much weight as you can is not the only way to do it. Let's put it this way. Like that idea that it's the best way ever to train for everything is absurd. Yes, Olympic weightlifters, but that's because that's a sport. It's very specific stuff. Olympic weightlifting is not even the best way to train for strongmen. The best strongmen never done Olympic weightlifting in their lives, but they've done some powerlifting and they basically done strongmen. So it just depends. Like if I'm gonna want, for example, like for grappling, I get to choose two guys. one that is very strong strongman-wise, and one that is very strong Olympic weightlifting-wise, I'll choose the dude. And then you ask me which one is going to be the better grappler within the next 6 months. Trust me, strongman. Because they have angles and things like the Olympic weightlifter is just up and down. That's all he does, right? It's up and down, and then there's imbalances from doing the split jerk one way or stuff like that, where the strongman has to see angles, has an awkward strength, grip, and stuff like that the Olympic lifter just won't have.
So I think what we've got to kind of like tie everything up in a really sweet knot.
Yes, we have to go back
Is that
to
what we do? Do we end every episode with that? I don't think we ever get there. But we basically we need to just have a better understanding of what we're trying to do and why, for one.
Yes, and
in any application.
that's on their side, right? On our side, we have to do a better job as offering more tools out there that are not necessarily based on my own bias of strongman movement, because it works better for me. There are many different ways to skin the cat.
So the question really isn't how can I apply this in a Globo Gym or how can I apply this to grappling. The question is really, what do I need to know?
Yes.
What do I need to learn so that then I can take that to
right. It's actually, that would be a very good conversation with people. It's like, do you need to understand all of it?
Yeah.
No, you don't. Yeah. You don't have to know content mechanics. You don't have to know the whole consciousness. Like, you don't need to know all that. Like, there are probably parts of the system where if you know enough of that, you'll be able to apply it to exactly what it is you want to do.
Yeah.
Right. So that's very true. Like, I have a tendency to cover everything because there's a little bit of everything everywhere. So what we could do is, for example, is for grapplers, those are the principles you need to know absolutely. Right? And maybe you need to know the other shit, but that you don't have to know. And their job will be to know that on the conceptual level extremely well.
Yeah. And then that information.
That we can do. So, but I would agree that sometimes I give, again, we're going back to how much should I give? I don't know either. Yeah. But I'm not going to change what I do. So I'm going to give as all the stuff that I have that I think works. So yes, we're going to go into philosophy, into Plato and Aristotle and all that stuff. Do you all need to know that? I believe so, but it is not necessary for you, not now. It is not necessary for you to adapt that stuff to grappling. That is true. Yeah. That is true. That is true. But there's going to be some basic understanding that you need to apply all this correctly. And after that, me on my side is to explain what is that basic understanding based on what you want to do.
So the answer is keep following us, keep listening.
And also, like, we need to get away from dogma.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying sandbag is the only way, but on the other side, don't tell me barbell is the only way. Yeah. Don't tell me the barbell is the best way to train, because that's not true. Yeah. It is, and you cannot tell me that the barbell is more functional than the sandbag. That I'll never agree. Yeah. Because that's not true. The sandbag is more functional than the barbell. I'm sorry. That's just, look at evolution, look at the shit you have to do outside, right? And it fits a sandbag, it doesn't fit a barbell. Step away from that soft environment that we have on a daily basis and understand that we've been there for 100 years.
And it's important to understand too that everything that we're doing in exercise and fitness really is just because our lives are so soft, we actually have to invent work for us to do so we don't get fat and weak.
Yeah, and we have to also, we're inventing exercise that are, because we are so soft, that don't make us feel too bad.
Yeah.
Right? We like to go to
the
Globo
Gym. Least resistance. That's why there's 40 ellipticals and fucking. Yep.
But even the machines is like, oh, I can do this, I can feel my lats. I'm like, which is great because you need to feel a movement. But sometimes also is you have to be careful. When does it become like to be precise and when is being soft? Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like being precise in what you do is awesome. At some point, you're not being precise. You just don't want to be uncomfortable. Yeah. Like you don't like the sandbag. It's not because it's not as precisely loadable as the barbell. No, it's because it just feels awful.
It's a fucking fight.
Yeah. Exactly. So sometimes there's that as well. Like you're gonna have to. That's what I learned through grappling. Is you're gonna have. Sometimes you're gonna have to learn to fight through it. Like that idea that I want something very precise with a barbell or this because I can do the same movement every time. I'm like, yes, and that's the problem. You want to do the same movement every time. Welcome to life. It's not. Yeah. Grappling is never the same movement every time. There's always, it's never quite the same, right? So you're gonna have to learn different angles. That's why you spar so much, because every situation is different. That idea that, I can do 5 squats with perfect form and everything, I'm like, there is no such thing. Yeah. It's ridiculous. That is not how this works. So this sandbag is, try to do 5 reps on a sandbag. The 5 reps are completely different. You're getting tired, the bag is moving, you're gonna have to reset. It's a fucking headache every time, but that's the point as well. Yeah. Like they have to understand all that we do is based on evolutionary biology. It's also looking outside of our soft environments and what is life like. That's what I learned in Africa. right? And see them carry stuff, see them wrestle. Just one day in your life, go do a Jiu-Jitsu class, go wrestle. Tell me it feels like lifting a barbell.
Not even close.
Not even close. Lift a sandbag, see which one is closer. Wrestling is the first sport ever invented, right? And by men, because it's a basic, it's as close to a fight as you're gonna get, and it's the way to get strong. Look how strong wrestlers are, right? And stuff like it's just grappling makes you fucking strong in a very specific way. We call it grappling strength is very specific, but that's as functional as it gets. If you're gonna go with functional, wrestling is a shit.
Yeah.
That's true functional strength, right? And you need body weight strength and all that stuff. But the sandbag will get you there better than a barbell. I'm sorry, I'm not denigrating the barbell. I'm saying there is at some point, even maybe not better or worse, but there is a more functional scale.
Yeah.
Right? And the sandbag is higher on the functional scale than the barbell is. Not to say the barbell isn't good. I'm saying on the functional scale, the sandbag is higher.
So basically, we just need to learn more and do the best you can with what you have until you can fully do.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the key is you're going to have to understand the concept really, really well. And the less equipment you have, the more precisely you're going to have to understand the concept.
And the more creative you're going to have to be.
Yeah, and but again, I'm not denying the fact that we have to get better at explaining those concepts. And maybe sometimes I shoot with a musket. Everything goes, right? And we have to be more like snipers, like saying, look, for grappling, understand those concepts.
Yeah.
That would be a good way. But so, do I do that online? Do I do that through workshops? How do I do this? I don't know either. We've been at it for 2 years.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of stuff I need to get better at. That's not how I work. I don't know where I'm at yet on certain things where I'll figure it out over time. You just have to give me enough time to get there. I just don't know.
Yeah.
Certain things I don't know how to do it. But it's true that I shoot with a musket.
Yeah.
Like it's just all over the place, and it's because that's what's in my brain. And I can't do it any differently because that's literally how my brain works. But over time, maybe we can have people that starts to narrow down a bit, maybe the principles toward a certain application. So it's not telling you what to do, but it's...
it's just a balance. We have to tell you what to do and frame it with why for a little while until you get fully there.
Exactly.
So
we have to find a better balance on our side.
Yeah.
But I do think they have to find a better balance on their side as well. Yeah. Like you have to stop asking what. Like as a human being, stop. It's not as simple as just load the muscle. I know they're all telling you that, and it's a lie. Yeah. It's complete bullshit. You know what? I know they have all ended up, we sell the templates as well because we had so many people asking, we wanted to give them guidelines. So understand the need for that.
Yeah.
But someone who's trying to tell you a what without ever explaining the how and the why is just selling you something.
Yeah.
Right? There has to be more than that. So we can do our parts of trying to be more precise in what we do, but I need people to do their part. Yeah. And don't just be content with the what and try to go after the principles, understand the why and the how.
And it's on us to offer more just of that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
We sell
That's why we do the podcast.
And we're going to try to build context around those things here.
That's why we do the podcast.
We can be more educational in the formats that we have
totally.
with the templates. We can always continue to
I don't understand people, but we'll talk about autism one day, but that's one of my problems. I never understand where people are.
Yeah.
At their level. I don't understand and it's my fault again. And I'm not using autism as an excuse, but I don't understand intent of people baffles me.
Yeah.
I'm like, I give you a stuff because I know people are not like me. I get it. That by definition, I'm different. But I'll take one exercise and I'll fucking drill it for 3 hours. I'll think about it all day for 2 weeks until I have an understanding of it. That people don't do that baffles me.
Yeah.
So, but I'm not saying it in a bad way. I'm saying it to explain that sometimes I'm lost as to where people are because I don't think the same way. So I'm like, but I told you to do this, you're not doing it. I don't understand.
Yeah.
But that's my life in general, right? Nutrition, we gave it to some of our mentoring program, and the fact that half of them haven't tried baffles me.
Yeah.
You can't give me 4 weeks? I don't get it. I'll try anything.
So we're just going to keep doing it here and keep talking about it.
Yes, exactly.
That's the best we can do, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, but what I would like to give to people, I think the most is the curiosity.
Yeah.
That's what Jackie was talking about. I think really what the best I can do to people is make them curious about the human experience and make them understand that the only way to move forward is to try shit, even if it fails, by the way.
Yeah.
But at least you'll learn something. But you're going to have to feel good about something, fuck it up, feel really bad to understand that the good meant good and the bad meant bad.
Yeah.
If you just go bad, it doesn't work. If you just go good, it doesn't work either. Like the human experience is like, I do it right, feels good, I do it bad, it feels awful. You're gonna have to understand both so you know which one is which.
Yeah.
So if I can give something to people, is the curiosity to try shit for themselves. Not go into like, oh, he told me to do this, that's why I won't have to do it the wrong way. That's bad.
Yeah.
You avoiding the wrong way is bad. You will never understand. It's better that you fail your way than you succeed mine. That is the biggest lesson I want to give to people. Don't succeed my way. Fail yours first. Then when you find a win versus a failure, you'll know exactly which one is which. And that's why it's anchored in you. And when you have that win, you'll stick with the win. If you just have wins, you'll never stick with them because there's a part of you that wants to know what it's like to fail, which is good because your body is a learning mechanism and it needs the failure, if not more than it needs the wins. So looking at a method going like that would allow me not to fail is the biggest failure of your life. If I can give people one thing, is curiosity. Go try shit. Like what? 4 weeks, man. 4 weeks. Like I'm not asking you 2 years. I'm asking you certain shit, go try for 4 weeks, but try. Yeah. Don't bullshit me either. Don't say I tried.
Don't try the version that you want to try.
Yeah, and don't tell me you tried when you did it twice that week and maybe 3 times that week, but you didn't emotionally invest yourself in. You didn't really try. Yeah. You know, it's the Fight Club rules. When Tyler Durden actually, you decide your own level of involvement. Brad Pitt tells one, you decide your own level of involvement. That's what this is. You don't want to do it, that's cool. But you don't have to lie to me. I'm not your father. I'm not your dad. And even if I was, you shouldn't lie to me. Like, you are your own person. You are a human being who has his own consciousness of the world. When you try to bullshit me about the fact that you tried, the only person you're lying to is yourself. Because I know you didn't because you didn't end up with a result. So I know you're lying to, and I don't care in a way. You don't want to do it, then don't. But I'm just trying to offer you a chance to try something and learn. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. You go half-ass into it your way because my way is not comfortable, that's fine. But then you didn't do what I asked. That's the part I don't understand is people ask for my time and say, can you please show me how to do this? I say, okay, try it this way. This is how I did it. This is why I did it. Those are the principles. This is the how, this is the why. So this is the what that I came up with. Why don't you try this first? And then based on what happens, based on how you feel, you will end up with these results. And based on that, we'll know where you are and you can try a different way. Yeah. And then they ask my time to do that. I come in and I'm like, okay, let's do that. And they go like, yeah, but I didn't like this way. So they want the Chinese menu. I'm going to do what you say, but I'm going that way because I don't really like to do it this way. I'm like, okay, why are you asking me then?
Yeah.
Why are you asking me for my time? Your time is not more valuable than mine. I'm sorry, but the hour you take away from me, you take it from spending with my daughter, you take it from me training, from me playing pool, from me doing my stuff. It's not that your time is not valuable, but it's not more valuable than mine, especially when you're asking me to do it for free. Mm-hmm. Then you're going to have to basically show me that you at least value my time. It is at least equal to yours, right? So you're asking me to put all that stuff into it and you don't follow anything that I do. I'm like, I'm cool, you don't have to do it. But then what is it you want from me, right? Can you not at least give me a try? For 4 weeks, do it as I said, from why to how to what. Based on that, on how you feel, then you can start changing the what, as long as you understand the how and the why and everything. But I am utterly confused by people that cannot give me 4 weeks.
Are we going to do, we're going to do everyone who's listening is going to have the opportunity to actually try something very specific for 4 weeks with
the nutrition
exactly.
And so what I ask
is, and we'll explain
4 weeks.
that I think in an episode coming up soon.
Yeah, we'll do the next one. We'll do it about nutrition. But what I'll ask people is try the shit for 4 weeks, but try it and if you don't want to try it, don't try it. But if you do it halfway, you won't then you'll mess up the principle, which means the result will never match ours.
And with this, the nice thing is when we lay that out next time, it's going to be in a setup where you will be able to have a lot of, here is almost exactly what you need to do.
I'll tell exactly what I did and what you should do basically, and I'll explain why, obviously. Right?
And we've got a handful of people too, so I think next time that's going to be the cool.
Well, we have 10 people now on it, and we have the same result 10 times. But the thing is, if you're going to do that, and that works on movement for anything, like all I want is people to have the curiosity, or I don't know what do you want to call it, I don't care, but the mental.
Sometimes do you think they just need to be rewarded for the curiosity once? Like sometimes in society, we get slapped around a little bit for thinking outside the box. Yeah. That's what we're hoping with the nutrition thing.
I know, but I can't.
Is it a bit of a step outside something new for some people?
Okay, but I will not infantilize people.
True.
I will not treat them as, we have to stop in the fitness industry treating people like they're dumb.
But I mean with this is that it's going to, I just think it's effective and it will open a door to curiosity.
No, for sure.
It'll give them a
But
win and maybe
your
hopefully we'll see
responsibility
more.
as a human being is to try stuff truly.
Yeah.
If you're gonna give me, I'm gonna try, then fucking do it. Try, but try fully. Invest yourself emotionally and personally into your tries. And it's not even relating to me. It's in life, if you want to be successful, you're gonna have to invest yourself emotionally and personally into the stuff you do. Be fearless. Even if it's the first time in your life, fine. Then for the first time in your life, be fearless when you try. It's like loving someone. Either you're gonna do it fearlessly or you're gonna keep shit in the bag. Getting shit in the bag means you're already cheating on a relationship, right? That means you decide your own level of involvement, but understand that what you receive out of it is what you put into it. Welcome to life. That's how consciousness works, right? So you have to once in a while have the fortitude to try something fearlessly. If I say this is what I did for 4 weeks, this is the result that I have, and you want to do it, if you don't want to do it, that's cool. If you think I'm crazy, that I don't know what I'm talking about, that's all good, right? But if you're going to try something, try it.
Yeah, don't kind of try it.
Fully try. Remember what Yoda said, do or do not, but there is no try. It's that, just fully commit to try. Then do it for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. But commit to try something fully. Right? Don't go like, I changed this or I changed that. It's like, because like the first day, like I didn't feel good. I'm like, that's day one.
Yeah.
And maybe you didn't feel good because you just had a fight with your girlfriend. But instead of that, you're going to blame it on me changing this, where maybe there's 1,000 other reasons for why you didn't feel good that day. Maybe it's that, but maybe it's not. How do you know? By fucking trying 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Because then we can remove basically all the variables so that we have somewhat of an idea. By the way, 4 weeks is a very short time to try anything relating to nutrition, but at least we'll see if you have some results.
Yeah.
Are you going to look like Jay Cutler? No. But
Don't tell me that.
no,
Don't tell me. I'm going to do it.
It's not going to happen. Sorry, man. But so what I would like for StrongFit basically is really at the end is to give people a sense of curiosity and a fortitude to try stuff for themselves fully, so that they can actually learn for themselves, not from me. Not for me, not from me, not from anybody. I want you to learn for you, from you. That requires you to fully commit yourself to trying stuff. Understand the principles and try, but fully try. Like, you're going to do the bicep opener, spend an hour. But by the end of that hour, I've seen too many people that have not learned that much from it. Mm-hmm. They move the weight for an hour, so they're going to be sore the next day, but they haven't learned shit because they still don't know the movement. Like, I'll go with wrist position. I'll invest myself fully in the movement until I understand it correctly. Understand yourself. And again, this isn't about the movement, right? It's not about the molecule of sugar. It's about your consciousness of the fact that it is sweet. Concentrate on that, right? What is your consciousness telling you about the movement? And work on that. Your consciousness of the movement, not the weight. Because it's not about the weight, it's about you. So be you.
Is that your mic drop?
Exactly. That. Nutrition on the next one.
Is that what we're doing?
See you guys, yeah.
All right. We did it, MJ. Can we look at your camera now? We don't zoom out? What? Wait, there's no zooming. Did we zoom out?
Because I'm all like super confused now. Majin Buu. I like when you go in the rants.
we went way off, got dialed in, and way deep again.
And then way off again, and then back in, yeah.
We jump in, we climb out, we jump in, we climb out.
Exactly. It's a mud run. We're calling it the Spartan podcast.